Chavez Jr. right at the bell.
And Judge Max DeLuca sees it 98-92, declaring your winner by unanimous decision, Jake
Hey everyone, how's it going? Welcome back to the channel. Hope you guys are all doing well. Had a nice weekend. So as we saw last night, Jake Paul against Julio Cesar Chavez Jr. Jake Paul getting the victory, unanimous decision. And really what I think of that fight is pretty much the same I think of every single Jake Paul fight. I think it was just a bit of a circus, really. I think when it comes to Jake Paul, probably the most impressive thing is that he keeps finding these guys where they're really going to pose absolutely no threat to him, but the fans can, hang on to something. When it was Mike Tyson, it was the fact that Mike Tyson was posting those, workout videos, and, obviously they clearly, sped up those videos, and a lot of people were saying, oh, well, what if Mike Tyson lands a punch? What if the power, what if this, what if that? Not realizing that's, a 60-year-old Mike Tyson. That's a Mike Tyson that had a serious health scare, only months prior to that fight. I mean, Mike Tyson actually almost died. So, not understanding that, it's a Mike Tyson that was stumbling, on his way to the ring. And it was a Mike Tyson that was tired after one round. Fast forward to Julio Cesar Chavez Jr. This is a fighter that even in his prime, really showed no dedication to the sport. I think last night is pretty much how his, career was. This is a fighter that almost never shows up in shape. And then he, comes on late, kind of like he did against Sergio Martinez. And again, against Jake Paul last night, tries to rally last 2 or 3 rounds, but, it's not good enough. Doesn't throw enough punches. And that's really, he's just a guy that has just not used his talent at all. I mean, when I see someone like Julio Cesar Chavez Jr., I almost think of like an Adrian Broner. Obviously, he's not as accomplished as an Adrian Broner, but, just another guy that, to me, just has no hunger in the sport. And again, had talent, but just not used it. And it's really a shame, in my opinion, that, his father, pretty much every single fight, is, pleading with him to, throw more, do more. And he just never really does it. So yeah, that's who Jake Paul fought. Julio Cesar Chavez Jr. that fought Canelo 8 years ago. Since then, lost to Anderson Silva, an MMA fighter who was 45 years old. In Mexico, he lost to him. So again, this is not a high-level fighter at all. Again, I'm very disappointed with the DAZN commentary. Yes, I understand that the promoters are there and Jake Paul is there to sell a fight. But a lot of you, Antonio Tarver and these people, you're former fighters. So, you should really know better. I kind of expect it from Chris Mannix at this moment in time, but, the other ones, it's just the same old thing, really. Talking about a Zurdo Ramirez fight, talking about Canelo Alvarez, Jake Paul is absolutely nowhere near that level. He's just not. Jake Paul still, to this day, I do not consider him a real fighter, because he's just, look at what he's doing. I mean, he's just fighting guys that have no chance. Julio Cesar Chavez, I mean, the first 5 rounds, he probably threw about 15 punches combined. I mean, it was ridiculous. And I think that's another thing about Jake Paul as well. I mean, these fights, they're not even entertaining. Yeah, sure, I'll watch it because I'm a boxing fan and it's on. But I've never really watched a Jake Paul fight and been entertained. Maybe the only one I've been entertained was the Tommy Fury fight, where he really got schooled and beat easily against a Tommy Fury who is a journeyman or, prospect at best. The same Tommy Fury that couldn't do anything to KSI, and, that's who beat you pretty much every round other than the knockdown. So, yeah, this whole Jake Paul situation and Jake Paul thing, I don't know where it's going to go. Obviously, he's got a lot of casuals involved that, don't really understand the sport, thinking that he's some great fighter, this and that. But, I just don't think he's ever going to go the traditional route. I don't think he's ever going to, fight European level or tough journeyman and, fight tricky southpaws. He's not going to do that. I think he's going to, keep fighting these guys. What happened, in my opinion, is, they probably made a call to Julio Cesar Chavez Jr. Asked if he had been training. He probably said no. Are you in shape? Absolutely not. Julio Cesar Chavez Jr., hasn't fought in 2 years. You know, he's probably not been taking care of his diet. There's no way he's been in the gym. And he just pretty much just turned up for a paycheck. You know, same way as Mike Tyson. So if this is what is, you know, interests a lot of people, then, you know, so be it. But in my opinion, you know, this is not real boxing to me. Again, will I watch it? Sure. I mean, I'm a boxing fan. I don't really understand those people that say, you know, oh, well, you know, you don't have to watch. You know, we're boxing fans. That's what you're going to do. You know, it's the same thing. I'm a football fan as well. Do I have to, you know, pay up for every single pay-per-view? No. Do I have to go to every single event? No. But, you know, if you're an enthusiast, you're going to watch. So, yeah, you know, those are my thoughts. Again, you know, not impressed at all with Jake Paul. Not a fan. You know, let me know what you guys think. Always interested to hear what you guys have to say. Thanks for tuning in. Obviously, you know, there were some other big fights that announced today. We're going to break those down in the upcoming videos. But yeah, you know, thanks a lot for tuning in. I hope you guys had a nice weekend. And I'll see you guys on the next one.